I don't see what the problem is. Either you want to move to Buchanan City with me, or you don't.
Well, Clint, I mean, it's not really that simple, is it? I'm just very surprised. I don't know what to say.
Well, say something. Say you love the idea or you hate the idea, but say something.
This is a major decision we're talking about. This involves moving the entire family, lock, stock, and barrel, as you put it, to Arizona. I need time to think about this.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to pressure you.
Then don't, darling, please.
Are you hesitating because your answer is no?
I don't have any answers now. Right now, all I seem to have are a lot of questions.
Well, fire away. Ask me the questions, I'll give you the answers.
All right. When do you want to make this move?
Today. Or tomorrow, or the day after. Just as soon as we can pack our bags, round up the kids, get on a plane. All you have to do is say yes, and we're on our way.
Before you get the mistaken impression that this court is through with you, Mrs. Roberts, I think it's only fair to warn you that in addition to the possibility of holding you in contempt of court, I intend to discuss with the district attorney the possibility of bringing criminal charges against you.
Why, just because I won't tell what Gabrielle was holding over me?
No, because you engaged in a conspiracy with the defendant. We'll take a short recess before final summations begin.
All rise.
Mr. Hall, can we get your reaction?
I'll
Come on,
take care of it. I'll talk to you outside.
I just want to breathe.
I wish I could wipe the pain away just as easy.
It's all these memories. Giving birth to our son. And you weren't coming back.
It's all in the past. What matters is that I'm here now.
You won't abandon me again. Please promise me that you'll visit me in prison.
You are not going to prison.
Oh, God. Come off it. This jury's not gonna let me out. All my hopes, all my dreams, they're gone.
Here's what to do when you don't find the rainbows in this time. Here's where you go when it looks like the rain won't end. Don't cry. I'll give you tomorrow. Let me be the one to share it with. And each day that follows, 'cause we only have one life to live.
Guess what? You and I are about to become sisters-in-law.
You and Max are getting married?
Mm-hmm. Just as soon as your brother says yes.
Whoa, wait a minute. You're going to propose to him?
Yeah,
When?
as soon as he gets back from court.
Wow, a woman proposing to a man. I'd like to see that.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, I know that's something you don't see every day, but believe me, I'm going to be nervous enough as it is. I don't need an audience.
Well, I wouldn't think of hanging around. But I'd love you to tell me about it afterwards.
Sure. I'll give you a blow-by-blow description.
Great. Anyway, I'd like to say best wishes, Steve.
Thanks.
Excuse me, I'd like to talk to Mr. Callison for a second.
All right, I'll get back to you on that. All right. Yeah.
What is going on here, Herb? You told me that Tina wasn't the one who was on trial here.
That was not my intention.
Oh, the hell it wasn't.
Wait a minute. I had no idea Carlin was going to come down that hard. Did you know that Tina had been blackmailed? Cord!
Yeah. But if I knew that something like this was going to happen, Herb, there's no way I would have let Tina honor that subpoena.
Yes, you realize that if I'd known about the blackmail, I might have been able to convince the judge to grant her immunity. Without that knowledge, I was helpless. And now Tina compounds the problem by refusing to answer his questions.
Well, you kept telling me that Gabrielle was the one who was on trial here, not Tina.
Listen to me. All Carlin wanted out of her was the reason Gabrielle was able to blackmail. He didn't come down hard on her until she refused to answer.
And now he wants you to bring criminal charges against her.
Yes, Cord, that's right. And if he wants to take this to the wall, he could very easily get enough public support to pressure me into having to go along with it.
This is perfect.
Right. Now, of course, if Tina would step forward and just explain this blackmail, maybe this wouldn't be necessary.
Herb, I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Oh, Tina.
Herb, let me talk to Tina for a second, all right?
Yeah, sure.
Look, don't try to talk me out of it, okay? I'm not going to tell anybody what Gabrielle was holding over me.
Tina, you're going to go in there, you're going to talk to the judge, and you're going to tell him the truth.
Great, then you and Asa can go to prison. Look, I can't let that happen, all right? I did something wrong here, so if somebody has to go to prison, I guess it's going to be me.
Fine. Herb, can you get me in there to talk to the judge?
What for?
Because this entire thing is turning into a nightmare. I want to end it once and for all. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to tell him about the blackmail.
Cord, no, don't.
Tina, it's done, all right? I'm going in there, I'm going to talk to the man. It's your one chance of getting out of this. Let's go, Herb.
Cord, no!
I'm not going to see my son again, am I? Not even when I get out of prison. He's going to know why I was put away. And he's going to hate me, and he's not going to want to have anything to do with me.
Al is never going to hate you.
Oh, God, yes, he is. When he's old enough to understand what an awful thing I've done.
You will explain it to him, and you will help him to understand why you did what you did.
I'm not going to be around to explain anything. I'm going to prison for God knows how many years.
This trial is not over yet, so why do you keep assuming the worst?
I can see it in their eyes. They think I'm guilty of sin, and I don't blame them.
Shh! You stop talking like that, okay? After what they just heard about what happened to you in the jungle, how you suffered, and how you gave up our son, they're seeing you in a different light, just like I am.
Are you really?
I just wish I'd known all the pain you were going through back then. I'm so sorry I was responsible for it. There's only some way to make it up to you now.
Oh, you already have. You've been so loving and so understanding, and you've stayed with me. And you have been brutally honest when I need you to be.
After you confessed, I told you I'd be straight with you. And I have.
I know. I need you to be straight now. If you were a member of that jury, would you vote to have me convicted?
No, darling, that's him. I mean, that's impossible. Totally impossible.
Nothing is impossible if you want it bad enough.
In the first place, Michael Grand owns Old Arizona. We can't just move in and rechristen it Buchanan City.
I have that all worked out. At least in my head. Now, you give me the green light, and I will go talk to Michael Grand. I happen to know for a fact that he is very anxious to get rid of Old Arizona. As a theme park, it is a flop, and it has nothing for him except a bunch of bad memories.
Well, now, that's another thing. How on earth can we live in a theme park?
We're not going to live in a theme park. It's going to be Buchanan City. I'm going to restore the entire town to the way it was, just the way we remember it from our trip to the past. You know, Blaze's Saloon, Jenny's schoolhouse. I'll renovate Buck's homestead, and we'll live just like he did. And we'll raise our family the same way. We'll lead the simple life, Viki. Now, maybe it won't be easy at first, but once we get used to it, we are going to wonder why we didn't escape civilization a long time ago.
You know, sweetheart, our ancestors, yours and mine, I mean, they lived the way they did because they had to. They had no other way. But all these modern trappings that you're so anxious to leave behind, they're part of our lives, darling. We can't just turn back the clock, pretend they never existed.
Back then, our ancestors were the masters of their fate. Today, we are slaves. We are slaves to every newfangled, high-tech product that comes down the pike. We are ruled by toasters, microwave ovens, dishwashers, computers, fax machines, television sets, and you know what? Do you know what our reward for all this progress is? Air pollution, toxic waste, oil spills, crime.
Oh, come on, you can't blame all of that on one little household appliance.
You're absolutely right. We've done it to ourselves. but we can undo it. We can just leave it. And we can leave behind the daily grind and the headache and the pressures. And we can learn to value plain and simple, honest work. And we can, like growing our own organic food, we can live off the land. Don't you see, Viki? We can finally find the peace that we've been looking for. We can be free. And I promise you, we will be happier than we've ever been before.
This is really very overwhelming. You know, at the cabin, I was struggling to get through one day at a time, and yet while you were in Arizona, in the space of a day or two, you seem to have mapped out a whole lifetime.
That's because I was able to see the possibilities. And I know it'll work. All I need is an answer from you.
It's not a fair question, Gabrielle.
Yes, it is. Would you vote to have me convicted?
Deep in my heart, I know you weren't out of control the moment you switched those babies, so yes, I would have to vote guilty as charged.
Not you two.
Gabrielle, I know you better than anyone on that jury. And I am sure that you were concerned about Michael possibly committing suicide, and you wanted to keep your promise to Alicia. But I also know you did this for yourself, for your needs. And they were more important to you than anyone else's, especially Brenda's. You acted selfishly.
Yes, yes. And I've been tormented by it.
Yes, I know that. And then you did the right thing. You confessed your crime. And you got Michael to give Brenda her baby back. You accepted the responsibility for your actions.
Okay. How many years do you think they'll give me? 10, 20, maybe?
None, I hope.
But you just said that you would.
I said it wasn't a fair question to ask me because I know you better than anyone on the jury does. And I'm not on the jury. John gave a great defense. And I am hoping the jury buys it because I think you deserve another chance to prove yourself. I'm looking at a new Gabrielle Medina. I like what I see.
Oh, do you?
I'm proud of you. I am very proud.
You mean everything to me. Your faith and trust and belief in me is all that I've ever wanted.
Listen, here. I better get back to my chair before the judge comes back.
What was all that about? What did Max say to you, darling?
He said the best thing he could ever say. He's proud of me. He believes in me. I can face anything now.
All rise.
Well?
Well, I told the judge everything.
Well, and have you rested?
Be seated.
Actually, he and Herb decided to put the whole thing on the back burner until after this trial is over.
Order in the court. Mr. Callison, you may proceed with your summation.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, there's only one possible verdict in this case. One verdict. One verdict that serves justice and lets the entire world know that this community will not tolerate the sort of crime perpetrated by the heartless woman You see before you Gabrielle Medina.
What am I going to do with you?
Well, does that mean your answer is yes?
Look, I love seeing you like this. I can't tell you how long it's been since the dreamer in you burst forth. I've kind of missed it.
This isn't just a dream.
I know it isn't. You want it to come true. I know that, and that's one of the traits about you that I love best, including your ability to come up with the plan to end all plans.
Does that mean you like what you hear?
Clint, I think the idea of turning old Arizona back into Buchanan City is wonderful.
But
I have to question whether we should make our family a permanent part of those plans.
Viki.
Darling, I know. Please, hear me out. You've promised us the beauty and the serenity of a simpler life. I know that. But you are asking me and the children to give up so much. Our home, our friends, our family.
we'll have a new home. We'll make new friends, and our families can come visit us.
Can you really see Asa reading the financial section by gaslight?
Asa will get used to it. And we'll all get used to living a new way of life.
Well, you will probably get used to it, and maybe even I will. But, honey, I think that could prove very difficult for the children. I mean, take school, for example. They are incredibly happy and comfortable in their schools. They like their teachers. They have all kinds of after-school activities. They do sports.
We'll find them a new school.
We tried that before when we moved out to the ranch after you became blind. Kevin had a terrible time adjusting. That's one of the reasons I decided to move back to Llanview.
You moved back to Llanview after you thought I had died out in the desert.
Yes, but when you came back from the past, darling, you and I both agreed that we would never, ever move from here again.
So I changed my mind.
What about your responsibilities? You are the sole owner of the Banner now. What's going to happen to the newspaper if you just up and leave?
Asa can manage it, along with Bo and Cord.
No, Asa cannot manage it. Asa has to slow down. He wants to slow down. That was the whole point in his giving you the paper. And Bo runs WVLE. Besides that, Bo is getting married. And Cord is having a whole load of problems with Tina. They all have their own problems. We cannot add to them.
Don't you think we should do whatever we have to do to solve our own problems? That's why I want to do this, Viki. To solve our problems and to save our marriage.
Is moving going to be some sort of magic cure?
Moving will get everyone and everything out of our lives that has been pushing and pulling us a million different ways all at one time. Viki, we have both become victims of our complex lives.
Even simple things can become very complex.
No, a simpler way of life will give you and I more time together.
Well, Lord knows we have spent more time apart recently than together.
Yes, but once we move out to Buchanan City, that'll all change. There'll be no more outside pressures and no more threats to our marriage. And we'll have all the time in the world to spend together. And our love will grow stronger with every passing day. That's what I want for us. I want that more than anything else.
Could any of you forgive a woman who stole your baby? Your beautiful little baby. Could you forgive her if you understood the only reason she stole your baby was to get herself a rich husband? Well, that's what she did. Exactly what she did. She took another woman's child. She picked up Stephen McGillis, placed him in Garrett Grant's bassinet. She stole Brenda McGillis' little baby and rode off into the sunset with him. And now, after she's been caught, after she has confessed her crime of her own free will, she has an inspiration. She figures that she can avoid punishment by claiming she wasn't in her right mind when she switched those babies. but she was in her right mind. She was in total control of her emotions. And for all the sorrow and all the regrets, beneath that troubled soul, there lies a cold-blooded heart. Some of you were moved by her testimony. I know that it's understandable. But I ask you to consider the very real possibility that you were manipulated. I urge you to review the evidence very carefully, and find the defendant guilty as charged. Thank
you. Mr. Russell, your summation?
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, I must say I'm a little confused by the district attorney's remarks. You see, my client has never denied switching the babies, and she's taken total responsibility for her actions. Ladies and gentlemen, right here in this courtroom, you've seen her suffering. You've witnessed her anguish here. You've watched as her heart's been exposed like a raw nerve. And you've also watched as that heart has been battered by one man, Max Holden. You've seen his actions. You've heard his words. One minute declaring his love for Gabrielle, the next minute denying it. Taking her from happiness to misery, and finally to the point where she gave up her one and only child for the love of a man. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, could any of you withstand being torn between such denial and fulfillment? How many of you know the feeling of being loved and then being totally rejected? How many of you know the pain of loving someone the way that Gabrielle loved Max Holden? Well, those of you who can understand that, you can understand how she was reduced to living a life in constant desperation, how it tainted her judgment each and every day, including the night that she switched the babies. That night, she lost all reason. She lost all control. She went over that edge that you and I all walk, into insanity. And that is why the law allows a plea of temporary insanity. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, you must, in this case, you must come up with a verdict of not guilty due to temporary insanity. Thank you.
You should have been a salesman, you know that?
That mean you're sold on the idea?
It would be terrific to get away from everything.
Well, all right, let's start packing.
No, Clint, please. I really need to think about this, okay? We have to talk to the children. I have to talk to Tina and Megan, and you have to discuss this with Asa and Bo as well.
Okay, all right. But I'm not going to let them change my mind.
I know you won't. I'm sorry. I know you're disappointed because I couldn't say yes right off the bat.
That's all right. That's all right. I know that you need some time to think about it.
There is one thing that I do not need to think about, though, and that is you. I love you. I love you, Clint. I love you totally and completely. And I promise you that together we will reach a decision that everyone can live with.
Well, now, an old cowboy can't ask for any more than that, can he?
Well, you could, but this is all you'll get.
You know, after I got off the phone with you yesterday, I saddled up and rode off into the desert. And I watched the most gorgeous western sunset I have ever seen. It was missing just one little thing. You. I could almost see you standing there in an old-fashioned gingham dress, looking just as beautiful as the day I married you. And it reminded me all over again that I want to spend the rest of my sunsets with you, and only you. Well, I suppose I'd better get my things unpacked.
Judge Carland informed us during the last recess that he will open the court to TV cameras. So we now bring you live coverage of the proceedings.
Stretch.
You are now faced with the task of rendering a verdict on this woman's guilt or innocence. Although we've been dealing with complex emotions here of love and hate, and with actions that grew out of those emotions, I strongly urge you to keep the issue of this case clear in your minds. Was the defendant, Gabrielle Medina, in her right mind when she committed her crime? Or was her judgment indeed blurred as a result of her extreme emotional state, to the point where she was temporarily insane, as she is pleading?
How many of you know the feeling of being loved and then being totally rejected? How many of you know the pain of loving someone the way that Gabrielle loved Max Holden?
I want to prove how I feel about you, Max.
You don't have to prove anything. I've never met a girl like you. Sweet, innocent.
I'm not innocent. You act like this is my first time. I've loved and been loved by many men. Why is it that I can never lie to you, Max?
I don't know. But I can't lie to you either. I care about you. A lot. Maybe if we had more time...
We have tonight. Kiss me.
I'm coming back to Buenos Aires, I promise.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
I mean it. I'm gonna find some way to get the cash to buy Don Alonso's ranch. Then I'm coming back here to live. Live out my dream. So, if you want to wait until then...
No, I don't want to wait another second. I want you, Max. I want you now.
The other day in my bar, when I tried to seduce you, I did it for one reason and one reason only. It was to get you to lower your defenses, to get you to admit the truth. It was all a ruse, Gabrielle. Truth is, I've been deceiving you all along. Something happened that day. Something that surprised the hell out of me. I didn't think it was possible, but when I was holding you in my arms and looking into your eyes, I saw something that I thought was long dead inside of you. Goodness and decency and even a touch of innocence.
So, why do you want to tell me all this now?
Because what I saw, and you gave me hope. Hope that you still had those feelings in you. The hope that you could save not only Brenda, but save yourself.
Spoken as though you really care about me.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't. And I wouldn't be trying to help you if I didn't.
Oh, isn't this more of your act? Isn't all this concern to help break down my barriers?
No. This is all for real. Every single word.
Is it? Good. Get out of here!
It's still in there.
Get out of here!
See it. The goodness, the decency. It is in there. All you have to do is let it out. Use it to do the right thing. Get Brenda back her baby, and it will affect your entire life. You will finally be free of the guilt that's been haunting you.
Get out of here.
Sure.
Leave me alone.
It's your decision. You're the only one that can change your life and the lives of all the people around you.
Keep all this in mind, and I'm sure you'll reach a fair and just verdict. Bailiff, you may take the jury to their chamber.
No, wait, it was all my fault. I did torment her. Please, no, listen, she's changed. You've got to believe me about this. Mr. Holden, sit down. Give her a chance. I will not tolerate a further outburst in my court. Shut up. Remove that man, and if he resists, arrest him.
Yeah, I just got burnt.
Why did you do it? Why did you tell the judge everything?
Because I had to, Tina.
But if something happens to you, I'm never going to forgive myself.
We'll deal with that when and if it happens.
Yeah, well, you know, you didn't testify under oath. So I'm going to tell him that you made the whole thing up to try to save me. And I know Asa is going to back me up on this.
Will you stop it, Tina? No more lies. Do you understand me? I don't want any more lies in our lives. I finally got this thing off my chest, and I feel good about that.
You know what I feel good about? That you really put yourself on the line for me. And you did that because you still love me.
I think you better reassess the situation, girl, because you're off by a long shot.
Victoria.
Oh. Roger, hello.
I didn't mean to startle you. Aaron said to come right in.
No, that's perfectly all right. I was just thinking.
Yeah, well, I've been doing a lot of thinking, too. Along with giving myself a good swift kick every now and then to remind myself of what a fool I was yesterday.
Please don't, Roger.
No. I need for you to hear me out, provided, of course, it's not too late to apologize.
There's no need for you to apologize.
Yes, there is. I sat there passing judgment on the situation, on your marriage, on Clint, on your feelings, when I should have just kept my big mouth shut.
No, I'm glad you didn't. Because you made me realize that my, situation, as you call it, is of my own making. And you were actually right. I don't have much of a marriage anymore.
Look, I'm sorry. I
It's all right.
shouldn't
It's
have
okay.
said
Let
that.
me finish now, okay? First of all, I think you should know that thanks to you, Clint has come home. Even though I walked out on you in the restaurant, I couldn't really ignore what you said to me. You made me face the fact that my marriage was deteriorating right before my eyes, and I had to do something about it. So I called him in Arizona, and I asked him to come home.
So he didn't come home of his own accord?
It doesn't really matter who takes the first step. The point is that we are back together again, and we've had a lovely, long talk. We've discussed all our problems and our difficulties, and I think that finally, we have come up with a solution.
Well, does that involve compromise on your part?
I don't view saving my marriage as some sort of compromise. I am committed to my husband. I am committed to my marriage, and that's how I truly feel.
I guess that settles it. End of story. Complete with happy ending.
Well, not really completely settled, no. There's one more problem that has to be resolved.
Well, that was pretty dramatic, wasn't it? Max's plea to the jury. Yeah, well, obviously he was feeling guilty about whatever he thinks he did that drove Gabrielle to such a desperate act. I'm sure that he just wanted the jury to know that, you know? Yeah, well, I think they got the picture. Yeah, well, it makes sense, right? I mean, she is the mother of his child, and he wouldn't want her to go to jail. So he had to defend her. He had to tell the whole jury how he was feeling better, you know. Oh, hell.
Does this mean you're not going to ask Max to marry you?
Look, Andy, I don't know.
I mean,
I know what you mean. I just need some time alone, okay?
Why do I get the feeling that I'm the problem you're referring to?
No, it's not you. It's us. I have to stop spending so much time with you, and that includes the time that we spend working on the Centennial Committee.
What are you saying, that you're going to quit your post to avoid me?
No, but I have to separate my duties from yours. I have to keep some distance between us.
I assume this was Clint's idea. It sounds like just the right solution that he would come up with.
No, don't blame Clint, all right? It was my idea. You can give me a little credit for being able to think for myself.
If you were thinking for yourself, you would see that you're not really resolving anything by cutting me out of your life.
Well, I'm not trying to do that.
Yes, you are. By pushing me away, you're hoping that out of sight means out of mind. But you'll never be able to get me out of your mind. You'll never be able to forget the past we've shared. You can't just walk away from us, Victoria.
I have to, Roger. I have to. It's damaging my life with my husband.
Why do you keep blaming your problems with Clint on our past?
Please, don't do this, all right? I really don't want this to become another argument. I know what I have to do. We have to work separately, and we have to not see so much of each other, all right?
Fine. If you need to see me, call my secretary. If I need to see you, I'll call yours. If we see each other on the street, we'll just go in opposite directions. How's that? Is that distance enough for you?
Don't do this. Please don't do this.
Okay, now, well, that's good. Now that that's settled, allow me to be the first to go the other way.
Can't believe Judge actually threw me out of the courtroom. Can you imagine that? And then he threatened to have me arrested because I speak my mind. Now, what happened to freedom of speech? What happened to the First Amendment? What happened to my coat? Where's my... I love my... Oh, Megan, I'm sorry. You probably have no idea why I'm bouncing off the walls here.
Oh, sure I did. I saw the whole thing on TV.
You did?
Yeah. And I must say, you put on quite a show. You should have stayed on Fraternity Row while you had a chance.
Megan, I can explain what happened.
No, don't bother. I mean, I understand it. Everything, completely.
You do?
Sure. I mean, we've gone over this, 100 times, haven't we? Gabrielle is the mother of your child, and you had to defend her. You had to do whatever you could to get the jury to keep her from sending her to jail.
You're not upset?
No. No. There. See?
Yeah. Hey. What is all this?
Oh, it's nothing. I just thought that you'd need a little pampering.
Baby, you are the greatest. I love you so much.
You didn't do this because you love me?
I did it because it was the right thing to do, Tina. End of story.
You sound so cold.
What do you want me to do? Celebrate, take you into my arms, have a party?
I just didn't think you'd be this mad for so long.
You are really amazing, you know that? I'm sitting there in that courtroom, humiliated, listening to you rehash the story about how you took Gabrielle's son and tried to give him to me and pretend that he was my son, not to mention the fact that you're pointing out all these ways that you tried to hide the fact that you didn't tell Brenda about the baby switching. I can't believe it, Tina.
Well, you're not going to be mad at me forever, are you?
At this point in time, I think that may be a distinct possibility.
Ladies and gentlemen, court is about to reconvene.
So soon?
Well, that can only mean one thing, if you'll excuse me.
But, Cord.
jury's reached a verdict, Gabrielle.
So quickly?
That must mean good news.
Not necessarily, darling.
Well, I'm positive the jury is behind Gabrielle. They wouldn't have come to a decision so quickly.
Well, we don't know what their decision is yet, just that they've made it.
Oh, no. No, we must have positive thoughts. Especially you, darling.
What?
Are you all right, Gabrielle?
Mummy, it's all happening so fast. I need Max. I really need him now. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I can't do this without Max here. Why isn't Max here?
Gabrielle, just try and calm down. Okay?
It'll all be over soon, darling. It'll all be over soon.
All rise.
You may be seated.
Max, where are you?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you reached your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor, we have.